In 2025, U.S. naval and air forces have been stretched thin by operational demands in other regions, such as the Caribbean Sea and the Middle East. Despite these challenges, the U.S. military has maintained a high-intensity military presence in the South China Sea and surrounding areas. Among them, the U.S. military deployed 4 carrier strike groups for 9 activities accessing the South China Sea. 11 nuclear-powered attack submarines and 1 nuclear-powered guided missile submarine appeared in the South China Sea and its surrounding waters. 13 sorties across 7 missions of B-52H and B-1B bombers patrolled the Western Pacific region. About 1,200 close-in reconnaissance missions in the South China Sea. 4 ocean surveillance and 3 oceanographic survey vessels conducted 197 ship days of activity in the South China Sea, and carried out 122 large-scale exercises and training exercises in the South China Sea and its surrounding areas throughout the year. In 2025, constrained by the Middle East and other directions, the actual intensity of USN CSGs deployment in the South China Sea has seen a decrease, with the USS Carl Vinson, USS Nimitz, and USS Abraham Lincoln CSGs being redeployed to the Middle East for military support. Similar to the situation of the CSGs, as the U.S. military is deeply involved in the Middle East wars, its Marine Corps cannot uphold a fully constituted ARG covering both coasts of the U.S. homeland and Japan respectively, leaving a deficit in response capabilities across the Indo-Pacific region. In 2025, the sorties of U.S. reconnaissance aircraft represented a moderate increase compared to 2024, attributed primarily to drones and air bases in the Philippines. Among the 1,200 sorties of reconnaissance aircraft in 2025, the Maritime Patrol and Reconnaissance Aircraft P-8A and MQ-9 deployed in the Philippines maintained a daily frequency of 1 to 2 sorties, conducting reconnaissance operations towards Scarborough Shoal and the Spratly Islands, accounting for 38% of the total number of U.S. military reconnaissance missions in the South China Sea. Moreover, the reconnaissance sorties of unmanned reconnaissance platforms by the U.S. military in the South China Sea accounted for 30% of the total U.S. close-in reconnaissance operations over China. In 2025, the U.S. ocean surveillance ships and oceanographic survey ships' cumulative operational time in the South China Sea amounted to 197 ship days. Among them, the ocean surveillance ship USNS Victorious was the most active, operating for 55 days. Ocean surveillance ships primarily operated in the bounded by the Paracel Islands, Spratly Islands, the Bashi Channel and the east-west sea lanes of the South China Sea, but their deployment time was significantly decreased, with most of their time spent docked at Yokosuka Naval Base in Japan. Meanwhile, the operational focus of the oceanographic survey ships shifted to the waters surrounding the Korean Peninsula and the broader North Pacific region. In 2025, the U.S. military conducted only 2 public island intruding FONOPs, the same as in 2024, showing a general decline compared to previous years. These operations primarily targeted the Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal in 2025. Throughout 2025, U.S. warships transited the Taiwan Strait 3 times, dropping from 1 to 2 times per month since 2020 to approximately 1 per quarter, while the USN P-8A did not conduct any publicly confirmed transit operations in 2025. In 2025, the U.S. continued to regard the Philippines as a critical node in its South China Sea military network. First, it accelerated upgrades and expansions at multiple Philippine bases under the framework of Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. Second, within the framework of Mutual Defense Treaty, the U.S. and the Philippines continuously strengthened the military presence via frequent joint drills and institutional dialogues. Third, strengthening forward deployments of critical equipment and facilities like missiles. In 2025, the U.S. and its allies further institutionalized and expanded intelligence sharing mechanisms in the South China Sea, and demonstrated an increasingly coordinated development trend in air and maritime intelligence networks. In May 2025, during the Defense Ministers' meeting, U.S., Japan, Australia, and the Philippines agreed to develop joint intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance plans and enhance cybersecurity and information systems to enable real-time intelligence sharing and coordination. Furthermore, the integration of US P-8A, MQ-9A high-altitude unmanned reconnaissance platforms, as well as the naval and air forces of allies in situational awareness activities has become increasingly normalized. In 2025, faced with the limited resources, the U.S. military has significantly increased joint exercises in the region with both regional and extra-regional allies. U.S. military drills in 2025 emphasize the integration of factors such as unmanned systems, long-range firepower, cyberspace, and artificial intelligence. For the first time, Exercise Talisman Sabre 2025 systematically incorporated AI-assisted decision-making and cross-domain ISR integration. During Exercise Balikatan 2025, the U.S. deployed MESAS and MIDES for the first time in the Philippines. Overall, in 2025, U.S. military activities in the South China Sea continued to show varying degrees of increase. Looking ahead, regardless of strategic adjustments by the second Trump administration or the evolution of other global hotspots like the Middle East, the broader Asia-Pacific region, particularly the South China Sea, will remain the U.S. military's most critical strategic theater. The U.S. will undoubtedly strive to sustain its military presence and activities in and around these contested waters. Under the autopilot mode, frontline U.S. actions may become increasingly aggressive and provocative. This introduces uncertainties into the relatively restrained military-to-military interactions observed between China and the United States since the November 2023 San Francisco summit, and threatens to undermine ongoing efforts by senior leadership on both sides to promote bilateral strategic stability.